isn't bad.
We're live.
Yes.
Happy March 30th, everyone. It's yesterday we were in our bro tanks, and then today we're watching the snow fly. So welcome to the Grand Cities.
It's going out like a lion. It didn't come in like a lion.
Sure is going out like a lion. Yeah, I think we used that when spring hit. So good morning, everybody. If you're catching us again later in the day, or if you like to watch us in the evenings as you sip your evening tea, good evening. This is Courtney Barstad-Logan. I'm a realtor with RE/MAX Grand, and on social media as Grand Cities Living. You are watching Put a Fork in It. I'm going to toss it over to my co-host, Kimmy Efta.
Hey everyone, I am Kim Efta. I am with RE/MAX Grand and My Grand Cities on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm reporting live from my parents' house. So I'm on my way to Devil's Lake this morning, so I stopped here to pull in and take a little break, and we'll get rolling again. And I'm excited. We have our guest, Aaron Rosten, with North Dakota. Is it Guaranty and Title?
Yep.
/ Grand Forks Abstract and Title.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure, but Aaron, I wanted to point this comment out right away.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
You gotta love the spouses.
Your spouse watches. That's awesome. See?
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. And we've had the opportunity to work with Penny as well. So
Yes. She swabbed my nose, I think, a few times.
Good. That's very close then.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'll let Kim dive a little bit more into this because we're excited to share what a closing looks like for people.
Yeah. So Aaron, I know you're kind of the business development. If you want to tell us a little bit about what you do for Grand Forks Abstract, that'd be awesome, and kind of what to expect, and we can ask those questions as we go through.
Sure. Well, I kind of oversee our region here. As you mentioned, we're part of North Dakota Guaranty and Title Company. Our region here consists of Grand Forks, which is our office locally here in town, and then we also service Polk County through Crookston, Strander Abstract, or Strander Guaranty and Title, as well as our office in Deep River Falls, which is Pennington Guaranty and Title. Those are the kind of three offices that we do title production out of this Grand Forks office for. I kind of oversee the production end of it. I've been in the business now 21 years. Started out doing just search work and abstracting, moved on to managing an office and doing closing for several years, and now I'm kind of overseeing production and the business end of it. So, but yeah, we offer full title and closing services in all those offices. What that means, if you don't know, is we kind of handle the background search work and determine who has clear title to property, any liens on the property that need to be paid off, handling both purchases and refinances. So with interest rates low, we've had a really banner year in 2020. We've been really blessed. I know some businesses have not had it that good, so think our lucky stars every day we're in the business that we're in. So we've been very busy, and it's been great.
So Aaron, you started there when you were 9?
Yeah, 9.5 actually.
Oh, 9.5. Okay. Yep.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. When you said that, I was like, jeepers, you've been working for the man since you were 9.
Yeah. I know.
Like it. Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah. It's not easy. You guys have been, you guys have been crazy since the pandemic hit, and obviously something you weren't expecting. But I'm thinking your parking lot is probably one of the busier parking lots in town.
Yeah, can be at times. Yes. Safe
to say. And you guys kind of quickly transitioned your process to curbside closings, which was weird for agents who just love to be in the room and experience all that is a closing, right? And then we turned into just standing at the window, as our clients signed. Yeah.
I felt like we should have had roller skates on too a few times.
Yeah. Go back and forth.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we've had all kinds of ideas for all of you. Just kind of, what else we could be doing over there. Cocktails on Fridays, in the parking lot, so just Let
I
us know.
like it. I like it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of jokes when we had the curbside. You'd go check on somebody and they say, "I'm just waiting on my Happy Meal" or something like that. But
So true.
yep, at least we were able to get it done. So
Awesome. So for people that have never gone through the process, and they, I even had one client who was like, okay, so we're going to meet at my new house and like sign the paper or, whatever it is. And it's really explain. Some lenders go through it all. Some realtors go through it all. Some people come completely prepared and then other people have no idea what hit them that day when they show up. So how would you explain, in terms of a typical closing, maybe for a buyer, like what does that, look like from both ends, your end and then maybe a buyer's end?
Sure. So we as a closing company or closing agent technically are supposed to be kind of a third party to the transaction, impartial third party. So we're not really giving anybody any advice or legal advice or tax advice or anything like that. What we're there to do is just to go through the documents with them, instruct them where they need to execute or sign those documents. Certain documents have to be notarized, so all of our closers are licensed notaries. And we kind of walk them through the process. If they have any technical questions, granted, our closing staff is very experienced and can easily help them through most questions, but we may have to refer them to their lender or possibly you guys as realtors, just to help them get through the process. But pretty painless. Like I said, our closers are very experienced. They've done this a million times. They go through documents like this every day. So although it's pretty normal for them, we want to make sure that the customer or the buyer is, getting all their questions answered and knowing what they're signing before they sign the documents. So things they just need to remember is we do need to verify their identification. Some lenders require multiple forms of identification. So obviously driver's license, sometimes if you feel the need, you can use your passport as well. Some need a second form of ID, which can be anything from a credit card, birth certificate, anything like that, just showing a second verification of their identification. And once we have that ID verified, then we begin the process and go through them with you. The documents, it depends on, what type of loan they're getting. If it's a cash deal, obviously there's a lot less paperwork involved than if it's a mortgage being signed by a lender. So it can vary. There can be anywhere from 5 documents to 70 documents that they have to sign. So just be prepared depending on the type of loan you have. You might have different documents, a lot more documents to sign, but hopefully no surprises. In this day and age, most people get their numbers, hopefully a little bit before closing. Sometimes it gets rushed and gets down to the last minute, but we should know the amounts and the dollar amounts and those things when we come to the closing table with you. So hopefully no surprises, and if there is, we walk you through them.
And then with this year, with all of the refinancing happening, I guess, what's your percentage that you're seeing right now with purchases and refis? And I mean, it's crazy year. What are you guys seeing over there?
Yeah, so interest rates are ticking up just a little bit, but locally, actually, they seem to be lower than even the national average from what I've seen. So we're last month, we don't have March data completed just yet, but last month we were just about 50-50 purchase and refis, and that's trended more towards the middle there. It's mostly, it's been more 75-25 probably refis purchases for a little while. But it's trending more towards the middle now of 50-50. It'll be interesting to see what March comes in at, but we're still seeing a lot of refinances. We always say, gosh, everyone you think would have refied by now, but there's always situations that warrant a refinance. So we always do see some of those orders no matter where we are.
I always think it's interesting because we try to prepare our clients for what closing looks like, but you can only share as much as you can. And then sometimes, you've got your clients that will read everything from start to finish, even if it's I don't even understand what that word is, but I'm going through it and it's awesome. And I always prepare those people to say hey, if you want to read every single line on that, let us know ahead of time. We'll book a room for you for 3 hours.
Right.
page through it. But like you said, we really always try to say like there shouldn't be any surprises and nothing can change, on this day, right? So we've done everything we can to that point. So when you see that stack of paperwork, like there shouldn't be any like gotchas, trickies, anything like that. The closers are they're very good. They know their script of what they're going through, and that's always very helpful. And I know from our standpoint, comforting because we can't be in the room if there is a question. And so I know the phone, over the phone, even in the car, that's been really nice and helpful.
Good. Yeah, and the thing that we always, a lot of those documents, if you don't sign them, you're not going to get the money either. So you got to kind of remember that and know that if you want the loan, this is kind of the process you have to go through. So.
Yeah. And don't read every that 45-page payment thing.
Yeah. Put that on your fridge and put a little box. Everyone.
I was like, oof.
Yeah, that one, you print that off, it's like, this is a waste. It makes you feel really, really bad.
30 years of payment, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So what, can you give us any fun stories you've had just in what you've been doing there for 21 years? Like the most interesting story that you can share?
Oh gosh. Well, we did have one, we probably had more than one over the years. One that jumped out to me is we had a person come in with cash on a cash closing, and he had all the money wrapped up in tinfoil. And it was a sizable amount that he had come in with. It was, I want to say, it was over $10,000. It was like 15,000 something. And we had to, and a lot of it was $1 bills, and we had to sit and count every dollar, and some change that he brought in and everything. So that was kind of interesting to see a box full of aluminum foil wrapped money come in. And an interesting fact: if you do come in with cash closing over $10,000, we do have to report that to the IRS. So in this particular instance, we started counting. We got through. We knew it was over $10,000, and we told him that we had to report it to the IRS. And he decided that he would go get a cashier check. So well, that was that day, but kind of interesting to see.
So was it actual cash purchase?
Yep. It was.
Before I was in real estate, my parents are out in Williston, and so when the boom was happening, my mom would be like, "This house sold for $400,000 cash," and I was like, "Who has all that cash lying around?" I was like, "Oh, I get it." So it's nice to know that people do actually purchase with the cash, though.
Yes, every once in a while.
Yeah. What else? We love the good stories.
Well, like you mentioned, you do occasionally get the person that wants to read every document, which can be difficult when we have closing basically scheduled on the hour. So we encourage, like you said, if you do want to read that, you absolutely have the right to. Just let us know ahead of time, and we can either get the documents up to you beforehand, or like Courtney said, we can get from somewhere and you can just sit and read and let us know when you're done. So
yeah. I'll supply the coffee. You just sit in your room.
Yep.
Yeah. Courtney and I just recently had a closing over there, and the funds weren't in at the time of closing, and one of our client was a little upset. So we were like, I think we're just gonna go over to the Burger King parking lot and hide a little bit. Like, I'm sure that happens a lot more than we think.
Yeah, most of the time it's pretty smooth, and a lot of the transactions aren't cash in tinfoil. They're wired funds, thankfully, and those can be tracked, pretty easily. Our escrow account, which we have accounts that simply hold the money, and distribute the funds to the buyers, the sellers, those kind of things. So, but yeah, it happens. I mean, a lot of times, especially with these low interest rates and these lenders that are so busy, they've got a lot of closings going on in a day. And sometimes documents or the wire gets pushed down to the last minute, and we might not have everything we need right at the time of closing. So we just got to kind of play it by ear. And a lot of times we'll take signatures on the documents and then just let you know, hey, as soon as we get that money in and we're able to disperse it, we'll let you know. And we just kind of like play it by ear. But it typically works pretty good. It typically, people are understanding, and there's nothing we can do about it. We can't give you the money until we have the money. So that's kind of how it works.
You're not like a payday loan. You just
Exactly.
this comes in. Yeah. It always when that happens, even if it's like a 30-minute delay, it's like, people get all anxious, and it's like, goodness, like, I mean, you deposit a check at your bank and it's like a 24 hour. So it's like, just take a breather. We'll be an hour here.
Yep.
But easier said than done.
I had another question, but now I just blanked on me. I'm sorry. It was really good too.
Do we have any audience questions coming in, Kimmy?
Yeah, we have a couple comments here. We have from Nancy Wilson, a good morning to everyone. Thanks, Nancy.
Good morning.
And then Chris Moan just says, Aaron, make sure there's some fish in the lake this summer.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Thanks, Chris. We'll try.
Thanks for tuning in, Chris. And let us know if there's a lake out at Stump Lake. We'll come check it out too.
I remembered my question.
Okay, you're in.
Yes, for the prorations of taxes, this comes up a lot. And when we're prorating the taxes, it's not to the hour on that day; it's the actual whole day. Correct?
Right. And it's on the date of disbursement. So it's the date that we actually are dispersing on the money. That's the day that we can't do it to the hour, because, like we said, we never know when we're getting the funds exactly or when the closing is exactly. But I never even thought of that. That's crazy. But I'm guessing it comes up every once in a while that people might want to think. So if you had a huge tax bill, it could be a few dollars. But it's to the date of closing.
I can only imagine some of the questions that come in. And not just from us, because we like to call Amy at the front desk and ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, we get some interesting ones sometimes. We had somebody in just yesterday that was planning on selling his home in about a year, and he wanted to find the title to his home, thinking more so that he had a title. When I wanted to talk to him, he was thinking he had a title to a car, similar to that. And the process is a little bit different with real estate. It's really a deed that's recorded at the county recorder. There's no physical title unless you have a manufactured home. It's not a piece of paper that you hold in your hand that says, I have title to this, that you can transfer to someone else. So you get some interesting questions. We also get calls, especially when our name was more Grand Forks Contract and Title. We'd get those calls, and I need to transfer my car title. I'll be in there in a half hour. Can you help us? No, we don't do that.
I'm like, come on in.
Every once in a while, there's a misspelling or something, and we get a call that they want to lay tile in their bathroom floor. So, you just
Oh, I like that too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You guys could start doing a referral business if you will.
Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. Any other questions on the docket?
No, I don't have any, but I'm happy I asked that one, because it has come up a few times. And then the other one was when somebody, like a buyer, signs early, but the seller can't sign till the afternoon. Who owns the house, or who should have the insurance for that half day or whatever? That comes up a few times, and some people get upset that they're not next, like back to back. That one I'm sure you've experienced as well, Aaron.
Yeah, but it doesn't always work out that it's, like you said, sometimes there's even, quite often we have to mail out documents or email documents to get them overnighted back to us. And, we're kind of, as a title insurance company, we cover that gap period from where our title work was done, where the documents are recorded and the new owner owns the property. So the new owners can rest assured that they're covered and they own that property as soon as that document is signed, even though technically by the letter of the law, the deed has to be recorded at the county recorder's office in order for them to take title. But that's what our title insurance covers, is that gap period, as well as many other things. So they've got it and they own it as soon as they've, the money's been given to us and everything's completed. So
now getting the keys, sometimes that's like a wrestle. So.
I bet.
I do love it's so weird because of, obviously modern technology, but you do get people that are like, I'll just sign it on, DocuSign. And you're like, well, it's a little different from that. But I think I was kind of on a trend there for about 3 months where I had all of my sellers were out of state. Two of them I had never met in person. And so it was always so slick to say, here's this is the date, this is what they're doing. And you all set it up where, here's the stuff, put it in the envelope, send it back to us, and, and here are the instructions, because I was like, how are we going to do this? And I think people, don't understand that, like, okay, where there's a will, there's a way. Like, we can do this in this way, but we have to plan for it. And I think, sometimes people are just like, oh, I don't think I'm going to make it for closing in 2 days. Like, no biggie. Send me the docs. I'll, DocuSign, because we do that a lot, obviously in ours. So it's really educating people too, that it's a bigger purchase, that, we do want to make sure that it's in person in some way. So.
And the non-borrowing spouse too.
Yes.
Sometimes they don't show up to closing.
Yeah.
Are you married? Yes, you're married. Where's your husband or wife or your spouse to finish this closing? That happens more often than I thought.
Yeah. And even to sell, you might take title to a property, even though you're married, but the spouse typically has to sell unless there's a few ways around that if it's not your home. For the most part, if you're married and you have closing, please bring your spouse. It makes it much more easier.
You guys dig up some dirt. You're kind of like Dateline sometimes. I feel like it was like the week I had my son, but it was like one client was like, oh yeah, he was married and this person's not even in the country and we can't find her. And I was like, what? Like, he didn't even like bring up that he was married. And then same with another person, like, I don't even know where my ex-husband is. I was like, well, this is going to be fun. So, but you guys were the ones that brought it up. And I was like, all right, let's figure this out. So, which you did, you helped.
Yeah. It's interesting because having gone through all parts of the business, like doing the search work is something that I still enjoy and still do quite a bit of, but you find those liens or those crazy title issues and you're like, wow, this is cool. But as a closer, you're like, oh my God, are you kidding me? This is going to be a lot of work to clean up, so you see the end of it. So. Yeah.
Kimmy's kind of probably, she's better sometimes with her, like, here, I have something to share with you. And I'm like, so, about 1999, do we have a little stuff going on? You were like, forgot about that 40,000, Yeah. So Kim's like, go pay your bills and then we'll get this figured out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's always interesting. So we'll let you start giving the bad news if anything like that comes up. Like, yo, you still have your wife. So.
Right. So just also within searching real estate records, how we find some of that stuff is we have to search the individual names of the owners, everybody in title, in the state tax liens and federal tax lien dockets. So if you didn't pay your taxes, that's going to show up. We have to search for money judgments recorded at the district court level. So if you get to pay somebody and they file a judgment against you, that could have to get cleared up before closing. We even search child support liens. So if you're in arrears in child support, this law is fairly new. I think it's probably 10, 12 years now since we started doing that. But we never used to. But now if you're not paying child support and it is in arrears, you may have to pay that or clean that up before you can close. So the other thing that we come across a lot of, my sister got married to a Johnson, so she became a Johnson. If you have a really common name and there's a judgment against your name, it might not be you, but we still have to show them if we prove otherwise. So don't get mad at us. We're just showing what's out there to start, and then we'll get it cleaned up if it's not you. There's ways to determine that it's not you. But if your name is Johnson, you might have 10 liens against you, and it's not really you. So,
or like 8 divorces.
Or identity theft. Like, have you ever had, like, you showed somebody a lien and been like, oh my gosh, I have identity theft?
I don't think so, but it is possible, that you've used your name to open a credit card or something like that, I suppose, and that's just it. If we find those and the people say it's not us, then we've got to determine how this lien was filed and who it was against.
If it ever came to me, I'd use the old Shaggy, like, wasn't me, It was just, you know what I'm saying?
A little more information than that, Courtney. It doesn't quite that easily.
Wasn't me. Kim just brought up a free pass for anybody that's like got lean. Like, oh, was it me? Identity theft. Is that a thing now?
You just say that at closing, with this.
Totally fine. All good. I can only imagine that, like with you said that with the last name, like, you call a client and you're like, hey, P.S., like we're showing 4 divorces on here. And then like the husband's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, oh, sorry. Yeah, you're an Olsen. Yep. Your name came up a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. Fun. You're on mute, Kim.
I don't have, I'm on mute. I don't have anything else. I know Aaron has a 10 o'clock, so we don't want to take his time too long. He said it's in the office at least. He doesn't have to like drive across town or anything. But
okay. We don't want you ripping out of the parking lot there. So awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, Aaron. This has been informative, and hopefully some people got some good tips on this from closing. Hopefully, anybody who's watching will bring you in. Yeah,
and we might have to re-interview you too, Aaron, because there might have been a little mic or feedback issue. So some people said they can't hear him fully. So we'll probably re-interview you too down the line here.
Perfect.
It's less busy in your area.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we'll do a parking lot one. We'll go live.
Yes, on roller skates.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, Aaron. Everyone make sure with whatever you do today, whether it be in the snow or inside, that you put a fork in it.
Bye.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.